Starting this lab, create, we're gonna do the NPX, the good old fashioned create React thing. So, all right, we're gonna move fast, guys. We just did this. I need your guys' help, okay? You guys need to help me out. Okay, we just did it. I want a lot of help. I want a lot of help up to step 5, okay? I want a lot of fucking help. Okay, we're gonna move into React, Redux. Jess? Okay. Well, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Someone yell. Come on, man. Okay, we can open up some code. That's cool. We got some code here. What is this? It's a bunch of folders, a bunch of files. All right, we got this. Okay, yeah, we can download something. Yep. I already fixed this one. So we're gonna get this package. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna skip ahead and get this package too. Okay. Can we get this package? We need it. Fuck, man, I should have done both of them. Can I do this at once? I've never tried to npm install twice at the same time.
I thought that's what you did earlier.
Nah, I didn't do that earlier. Oh yeah. But I'm trying to say I don't think I've ran npm install twice at the same time while one is another one running. But you're right. Right now so this right here, this is getting 3 packages at the same time, 4 packages at the same time: Redux, React Redux, Enzyme JSON, and Redux mock store. But I've never tried to run 2 npms. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to kind of do some setup. Can I do some setup, guys? Is that cool?
Some what?
Some setup. Yeah? So let's go ahead and create some folders. We can call this one Redux. We can call this one Components. Okay? We'll stick this one out here. Components and Redux are nested at the same level. We'll go ahead and create a file called counter.js. We'll create another file called counter.test.js. We'll also create another file called setuptests.js. Okay, so we'll hop over here. We'll do our setup file, paste that in. Dope. Okay, now let's run our npm test. No, my bad. We actually need to do this one right here. Let's go ahead and do this one. Come on, baby. All right, we're running this bad boy. All right, we're gonna do npm test, and we're gonna see. It's complaining that we don't have a single test, right? So let's go ahead and jump over to our guide. And let's just copy over our test. Okay, so let's look at our app. This right here. Why is this not working? I'm confused. What? Which test needs? What the fuck? What'd you say? Oh yeah. Okay, sweet. Fuck, I jumped ahead of ourselves. God damn it. I'm just gonna delete this. Okay. npm test. Looks like everything's okay. I expect to see 1 though. Save. Okay. Why is this? We didn't save any of them as dev, so that's not the issue. Oh, I had to press A, my bad. Okay, so we have one now. We got the free test that they gave us in app.test.js. That one passed, okay? So now let's jump over to the lab. We're copying over the first test that they asked us to do, okay? What's the first complaint that we can see, guys? Shallow. We can see that we're getting a complaint. And I don't see where we define anything called shallow. This is not magic. We got to get it from somewhere. So we're going to import it from... Yes. From Enzyme. Okay. Now we see another complaint. What are we seeing now? Okay. So what can we do here? Okay. Where do we want to stick counter? Can we leave it like this? Is it possible that we could leave it line 6, unlike on line 6? Exactly. It's not in the right folder, but we could do that. What would we have to do then?
Take it out.
Yes. But we're not going to do that because it's going to get messy. So we save it. Oh, what's it complaining about now? Can't find module components counter. The path is correct. But what's the problem? We don't have anything in here. So we're going to go ahead and create this. Okay, we got a counter component. We should see it work now. What? Export default counter. Okay. import counter from components. Counter. Okay. Let's go ahead and cancel this and run it again. What the fuck? For our app test, okay? Our app test is complaining it doesn't understand what the fuck counter is. Counter? Did I do this right? I put a space here. You guys see that? I put a space here by accident. That didn't look right. Okay, do this again. npm start or npm's test. Okay, so guys, now what's the complaint? Yes, it's saying, hey, you know this app component? I think it should contain a counter component. I think that should be true. Okay, so let's do this. App.js. You know, we're gonna go ahead and import a counter from components. What the fuck is this not? Counter. Okay, so what do we gotta do in here, guys? Come on. We need to render our counter component. Okay? We say this. It's passing now. Okay? Alright, what's the next step, guys? Okay, we're gonna copy all this into a counter.test.js. So we'll say, hey, we're gonna say, hey, counter.test.js. Okay, we're gonna paste this in. Now what are we gonna get, guys? So we need to import all our dependencies, okay? Save this. So now what's it saying? Guys, what's it saying? What's this complaining about? So what do we need to do in this file? Yes. Import React from React. We save. We check our test. What's it complaining about now? So what do we need to do? That worked. Now what's it complaining about? It's saying that the test just flat out failed. It's saying, hey, counter, I expected it to render, and it has to have a render h1 there. Notice that we don't see a reference error. There's no reference error. We have everything. The test is failing not because the test is not working correctly. It's failing because we didn't do what the test was testing for. Okay, so let's go back to our counter. Let's do an h1. Okay, we rendered h1. Let's look at the test. Now it passed. Very simple. That test said, hey, this counter better have a fucking h1 in it. All right, let's jump back over here. Now we're gonna copy some more code. We're gonna just copy this. Really, this is some more right here, a description of more extensive testing procedures. Okay, this is a description, and this one's saying looking for a render, right? It's saying, hey, look at the render function. It should have a button in it. So we'll go ahead and copy. Oh my bad, we don't need to copy here. Let's just go ahead and write a test. Okay. We're gonna say, hey, what we do a second ago. Test is the same thing as it. We'll save it. We'll refresh. We'll see if it works. Okay, that did work. So let's go ahead and do this button one. Okay, it should renders a button. And what do? Button. We expect it to have something, a button, right? So is this gonna fail or pass, guys? No. Why? Because it cannot find a button. Correct. So now let's go ahead and fix this. Increment. Okay, we'll save it. We'll watch it pass. Okay, sweet, it passed. Okay, is that good? Is that all we need to do here? Button? Okay. Okay, guys. So now we're gonna add this block here. We're gonna copy this block because we're adding additional tests. Okay. So we're gonna go to our counter. We copy that entire block. We're making sure we're putting this in the right place. It looks good. We'll paste. So we're gonna say, hey, our counter Redux pieces. So we have configure mock store. It's complaining. What do we need to do? Need to import it, guys. Come on. It doesn't. We don't. Saved. Okay, let's see if we have any more complaints. We also have an increment counter complaint. So right here it says increment counter is not defined. Okay, let's look at our test. Increment counter is not defined. So what can we do? Let's just define it. Okay, let's just define it right up here. Say const increment counter equals a function. What's it going to do? It's going to return an object. It's going to have a type property. Increment counter. Why are we doing this? What is this test testing? It sends a increment counter action. I think this description is not actually that good. We're testing that store can receive an increment counter action. Yeah, that's what it's doing right now, okay? Yep. So we can call this action right here. What's this action going to do? It's going to return an object. What does this object represent? It represents an action. What do actions do? They describe the change of state in our application. Okay, so we're going to copy this. We know the failure here. You guys all know it. It's just because this is spelled wrong. That's all it is. And just know that it has to be an object and it has to have a type property. So we save it, we run it, and we're passing. Okay, so now, fuck, I should have done it this way. Okay, let's go ahead and extract it out. Because this is how we're going to typically, this is how we're going to, we almost never are going to be importing or defining actions inside of the same folders in which we call them. We want to create a file called actions. And this is going to contain all of our actions. So we'll just say, we'll copy this right here. We'll paste over here. We need to export it now. We need to make it available in other places for use. We'll save this one. We refresh. And oh, yep. Thank you, Phil. So we need to do a relative import. So it's in counter test, we go up, and inside of here we go to Redux. We go into Redux, and then we look at actions, and we can see that our test now passed. Okay, so what's the next step? Okay, now we're gonna test our reducer. We'll copy this one right here. We'll paste it at the bottom of our function of our counter.test, and it says it applies the counter reducer to increment correctly. So notice how we don't have a counter reducer right here. Okay, what can we do here, guys? Yes. So we'll just say counter reducer, and we'll say reducers, and then we'll create a new file called reducers.js. We're just going to copy over this one over here. Okay, there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this. Fuck it. Okay, we export constant. This, we have some initial state, blah, 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 blah. We save in our counter reducer. Let's see if this complaint goes away first. It does go away. Do you guys see that this complaint went away? Now basically it's complaining that the behavior is not what we expected. Okay, let's look at the test that is testing for. It's saying, hey, given initial state, given an initial state where the count is 0, if we have an action of type increment counter and we fire that, we pass that through our reducer, what do we expect the state to be? Right? If we fire an action right here called increment counter, what do we expect to have happen? Yeah, because we started off at 0, right? Correct. So what's going on? We need to look at our reducer. So let's look at our reducer. What's the problem here? Exactly. I think +1. Okay, and let's see if the test pass. And the test does pass. So our reducer is doing exactly what we expect it to do. This is the same thing as earlier when I did this, guys. Let's go ahead and comment this out. Say if action.type equals increment counter, right? This is the same thing. Return count state count +1, and then obviously we need to take care of our default behavior. Okay, so now we'll just return state. And here, this is if a action that is passed, like this reducer does not care about. This is more advanced. We don't have an application difficult enough yet to worry about this. Just trust me. At the end of every reducer, you return state. Okay, save it. Everything passed. Okay. What else are we gonna do here, guys? We're gonna have a decrement. Okay. Yeah. But right now, let's go ahead and get this with the test pass. Let's move on with the lab. Okay. Now the test opens, connecting everything together. Okay. So now it says we need to do a before action. We'll go ahead and copy this entire thing. Now we're gonna test the actual integration of our application. So we jump back to our counter test. We'll paste this test here. What's create store complaining about, guys? Yep. So now what are we gonna do? Yep. Create store from. I forgot which one it is, honestly. I don't remember which one it was. Create store. Redux. I forgot. I don't remember. It's from just Redux, okay? So we paste it here. Okay, the complaint for create store goes away, right? But what other things are we complaining for? Mount, provider, app. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all these. We're saying import app from app, import provider. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, guys. Sorry. Let's go ahead and get mount too. Okay, we'll say mount. Okay, now we need provider. I forgot where we get this. I'm looking at my other example. CD Yosemite.
Redux.
Are you sure? Are you looking at an example?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Redux.
import what?
Provider. React Redux.
Okay, good. Let's see if this works. Okay, so now we can see that our test, it doesn't complain about a reference error. It doesn't complain about an undefined error. It's simply complaining that, hey man, our expectation is that it should be a 1, but we received an empty string. So let's look at the test. Let's look at the test and see what we did right here. The test, we have a provider, it's given a store, it renders an app inside of it. We look for a button inside of there. We click it, we update it, we find an H1, okay? We find an H1 inside of it, and then we click it again, and you know this whole entire test suite fails. Not entire test suite. This whole part fails. Why is that, guys? Because we haven't integrated our app with. We haven't connected it in such a way that, you know, like a button fires a increment. This button doesn't work yet. Okay. So how can we do this? Let's just go ahead and connect our counter to the Redux store. So we'll do export default, connect, oh my bad, connect, and then we'll do the 2 funky looking parentheses, and we'll export counter, okay? Now what are we going to complain about? Connect is not defined. Where can we get connect, guys? Yes. We'll copy this over here. We'll paste down here. We'll do connect right here. We're importing connect. Okay, those complaints went away. So let's see what the error is now. The error is still the same, right? We click the button, and you know, after we click this button right here, we updated the component, and we found that the H1's text was not equal to 1. We were expecting it to equal 1, right? So what can we do? How can we get a 1 inside of here? Well, obviously we're gonna use can we just hard code it right now? Let's see if that works. Okay, it passed the first test. It passed the first test, right? But it failed the second test. The second time we clicked, we expected it to be a 2, but it did not in fact work. Well, I'm just showing you that this is what's going on, okay? So how can we get if we want to connect it to Redux, that's the purpose of our exercise. How can we do that, guys? Map application state stored in store to counter components props. Okay, I swear, if any of you guys do this, I'm gonna be so upset. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like this should be so clear what's going on. We're gonna return an object. What's this object going to do? It's gonna have the keys and the values that we want to be props inside of counter. Okay, someone give me a color.
Red.
Someone give me a number. Someone give me a number.
3.
Okay, so now we're going to copy this entire function. Well, we're going to copy the function because it's super long. Where are we going to stick it, guys? Inside of the connect call. We save it. Now let's do something. Actually, let's just test this, okay? We're going to do console.log, blah, 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 blah. Let's get this counter props, okay? We're going to do props. We're going to do this.props, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this just to prove a point. Oops. We save it. We have npm start. Why can I not do that? Oh, my bad. Can't do that here. All right, there we go. We save it. And let's see what happens. Whoops. Fuck, man. I forgot a step. God damn it. Okay, so we now need to wrap our app component. Remember, we need to wrap our components. We need to wrap our components, okay? I don't know how to describe it. I really don't know what to say. So what are we going to do here?
Import provider.
Yep, we're going to import provider from React Redux. Is that it?
Yeah.
We also need to get connect. Okay? Now what are we going to do? We're going to say const connect wrapped app component equals connect. We're going to make this magical. We're going to use this magical thing, and we're going to pass it the app. Now what do we need to do? We're going to find another component. Provider wrapped app component. Fuck. Just know that it's wrapped twice, okay? That's all we got to say. Just it's wrapped twice. I don't know how to describe it. So now we're going to return what? We're going to return the provider. Oops. What are we going to do with this provider? We're going to wrap it around the component that has been wrapped with the connect component. Okay? Now what are we going to do with this component that wraps that component? Fuck, man, I fucked this up again. I explained this wrong. One component right here, one of these functions right here, all it does, the purpose of this function right here is to wrap our application component with the provider. Our application component has already been wrapped with the connect function. This is also another function. Okay? Now we need to export this. Done. So we're getting a bunch of other failures. Get state of undefined. And the reason why this is complaining now is because this is something you have to memorize. What do we do with every single provider? We got to give it a store. Okay? Every single provider gets a store. Where can I get this store? Got to define it, correct. So we can say const store equals create store. What is the argument to the create store? It's a reducer. Where can we get a reducer? Yes, but we've already defined it. So we just go ahead and import counter reducer. Is that what we called it? I forgot what we called it over here. Counter reducer. Okay, we're gonna import counter reducer from Redux reducers. Okay, we're gonna pass this counter reducer over to our create store argument call. And now we need to do one more step. We need to import create store. I don't know where this comes from again. I really don't remember. I forgot which one of these libraries it comes from. Is it just Redux? Yes, it is, right. So we're gonna paste here. We save it. Let's see what we're doing. Okay, our application is running. Okay, so nothing has failed yet. Okay, but is our test passing? Guys, we're really close right now. Is our test passing yet? Oh fuck, man! Now we broke another test. God damn it! Renders our counter component. It renders our counter component. Counter line 6. Which test is failing here? Counter test. Counter test is failing. Fuck me. Okay. Render. Which one is complaining? I'm confused. Counter pops dispatch. That's the console log. Render R. Okay, so line 19 is complaining.
Yes.
I think you finished milestone 6.
Okay, I'm gonna do milestone 6. Okay, I'm just gonna pause this. I'll show you how to fix this in a second, but I really want to stay focused. Okay, we'll comment these out. Okay, we'll save. God damn it, we also have another complaint here now. Where's it complaining? This one's also complaining. It's gonna comment this out, okay? We can fix this, trust me. It's just, the problem now is that like we wrapped it twice and now it's confused. It's like, oh shit, I thought you had a counter component here. Okay, so now just know that like right now it's complaining that the wrapper that defined H1, we expected to find a 1 in there. We don't have a 1 in there, okay? After we click it. So how can we update our counter component to actually render something inside this H1? Nice. I fucking like this. Okay, what do I need to do now? Which return? Okay, what do I need to do here? What do I tell me? Tell me more detail. Okay. Well, now what do we see a complaint of? Do you guys remember what type of component or what type of function this is? This is called a callback. Another component is going to, another place is going to call this. Why can I? It's going to call this and it's going to give it a state object or a state object. It's going to give it to us for free. So we're going to save this and we're going to console log this.pops. Okay, let's see what happens. Damn, our counter now has this. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So how can we make this H1 have a count inside of it, a 0 inside of it? Expected 1, got 0, huh? What's wrong now? What is this test complaining about? It found a button. What did it do with that button? It simulated a click. It updated the button. And then it expected inside the H1 to have, what? A 1. So what's the problem here? The problem is the button doesn't have it. Our component doesn't work. Our component, it's impossible. I guarantee you, each and every one of you, I give you this code, none of you can make it can change because our component is not implemented correctly. So what can we do now? We can do an on click, right? What do you want to do here? What magical property do we get from connect? Yes, we get a magical property. So we say this dot props dot dispatch, and then what is the argument? What is the action that we give dispatch? What is it? A type. Oh no. But what is this argument? It's an action. What is an action? It's a plain JavaScript object. What is important about this plain JavaScript object? What should it have? a type property. And we're gonna just pretend that we know what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this. Okay, so that looks good. So we save it. Yes, thank you guys. Bam, it works. Because this button does exactly what we think it should do. That's what our test is saying. Okay, I don't expect you guys to have this memorized. Okay, with these tests right here, I don't expect you guys to have this memorized. I don't have this memorized. Okay, but I do expect you guys, when you're asked to write a Jest test, to Google Jest, Google Enzyme, look at documentation, and figure out how to do what we want it to do. And not only do I expect this, your future boss expects you to do this.
You can also import it from actions, right? Because you have in actions.
Exactly. So exactly what I just said. I should not be doing this. Where am I at? I forgot where I'm at. Where are we at again? Okay, we're at encounter. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the second argument to connect. Okay. Fuck. I'm just gonna do this. Import. What are we looking for? Increment counter. Is that what it is called? I forgot, honestly. Increment counter. Okay, that's right. So we're gonna be increment counter from up Redux actions. Okay, so now we can do increment counter. We can stick that where? Right here, right? Because what is our increment counter? Oh, I don't like the way this is done. Now we end up having to call it still. Okay, we call it here. We call it here. Let's see if our test pass. Yep, still pass. That's because this is a function. This function needs to be called before it can return something. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm going to go show you guys one more thing, okay? I'm going to show you what the second argument to this connect call is. And it's typically reserved for a dispatch. Okay, on the one hand, we're getting state and we're pushing it into our component. On the other hand, we can grab actions and push them out. So we'll say const map dispatch to props equals a component or a function. And what's this going to do? I spelled this wrong. What's this going to do? It's going to return an object. It's almost the exact same thing as above, except this one is going to be a little bit different. We're just going to call. It also returns an object that has a key, okay? And it's going to return a dispatch. Oh, my bad. Instead of state, it's going to be dispatch. It's going to be called with a function called dispatch, okay? And then when we call dispatch here, what do we got to pass it? Guess. Exactly. A type increment counter, okay? Okay, so now we can take this map dispatch to props. And we can pass it as the second argument. Okay? So now, watch this. Look at our pops right here, okay? Pay attention to this. We save, we pop over here. We also have a property called what? Increment. Where is this coming from? It's coming from this right here. A dispatch. This should not be working this way. Hold on, let's think about this. It should be dispatch. It should be a function. It should be a function. Is this what I'm looking for? Yep, there it goes. Okay, that's it. It's a dispatch. Okay. Okay, this dot props that dispatch is not a function. Hold on. Let's think about this. Did I spell this wrong? Oh, because we did the map dispatch to props, it didn't get it for free anymore, okay? So we'll say this dot props dot increment. Do increment. Save it. This is magic, guys. Not really, it's just code, okay? So what else can we do? We can also have the inverse here. Decrement.
Wait, in this dot props dot increment, you're passing increment counter. You're passing a function.
Well, I say, Okay, now we say this. It also works. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know, man. Like, there's just a bunch of different ways. And the problem is that you guys are gonna work at a company and they're not gonna want to write code the way I want to write it, right? Or they're just gonna say like, this is the way that like someone told me how to write it. So I just want to show you guys that there are many different ways to do this. I would prefer that you guys do this.props. I don't know. It just depends on like. It also depends on how they've already been writing it. Okay. So this is another way. Let's go ahead and do the decrement. Okay. Decrement. We're gonna dispatch an action called decrement counter. Okay. So will this work yet?
No.
Why? Because our reducers do not account for this example. Okay, we don't have this type of action yet, so we need to account for this type of action. So we're just gonna copy and then paste a little bit, and then obviously doing a little bit changes. Oops, my bad. Decrement counter. Okay, we save it. Is that working? Decrement counter. That seems good. Okay, now we need to do what? Decrement. Okay, we save it. Go up, go down. What's the purpose of actions? What do you guys ask me any questions? Come on.
Can you do decrement the way that it was done in the lab, how you did it there originally for increment? I think that's what Paul's trying to.
Okay, fine.
The map dispatch to props.
Okay, fine. Okay, so now you want to do what? This.props. Dispatch. It's because look, this one's gonna get complicated, man. Or not complicated. It's gonna get long. Dispatch. Type is increment counter. Okay, so now what? What's this one gonna be? Decrement counter. Okay, we save it. It still works.
Wait, Paul was asking what's the purpose of action in relation to reducers.
What is the purpose of actions in related to reducers?
Go to the reducer file.
Okay.
Yeah, you put type in there. How do you connect action to reducer to make it have a purpose?
How do we connect action to
I think
reducer?
that's the original one.
So basically, just know it this way. Right now we have a count reducer, right? One day we're gonna have a user reducer. User reducer. And then after that, we're gonna have a movie reducer. Why can I not type today? Movie reducer, right? And all of these, just know that every single time we fire a single action, every single reducer will be read. Every single one of them is going to fire. And so for example, right now we have 3 reducers, right? If we fire one action, every single one of these is gonna fire. I would prove. Well, actually, no, not right now because I haven't done some additional setup. But basically, they can all fire, right? And in each reducer, we only want to change state if the appropriate type of action has fired. It describes which action has fired. Does that make sense? So just know that the purpose of the action type is to describe what type of action is going to fire. One day, so for example, in our actions right here, right? We can have like sign in user, and then this is going to say like sign in user, and then and then this is going to change to I'm going to fucking prove it to you guys. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to say update user. Okay, I'm gonna say update user right here. Okay, so now we have an action called update user. Okay, so in our initial state, we're gonna say our current user is an object. Okay, it's just an object right now. So in our counter, what are we gonna do? We're gonna the component did mount. Okay, we're gonna do set timeout. It's going to take a argument of a function as its first argument. And then we're just going to update who the current user is. Okay? Then we're going to say type is update. Okay, I wrote this wrong. My bad. Update user. Okay, update user right here. And then, okay, that looks good. And we need to then say how long it's gonna wait, 5 seconds. Okay, so when this component loads, we're gonna update our user. Okay, so that looks good. We're gonna run a type update user. So, okay, now I know this is where the money's at, okay? This is where the money's at. Just notice that console.log action, right here, action. When we refresh, we're gonna wait 5 seconds and it's gonna say action type is is update user. But notice, because none of these are of type update user, nothing happened. Nothing happened here, right? But let's just pretend that we have an update user. Update user. And what's gonna happen here? What happens when I do increment? So it's fucked up. Type is just saying that, like, it's trying to advise the producers, like, hey man, like, I know that there's a whole bunch of different types. This is the type of action I want to dispatch. I want to dispatch this action, and not every single reducer is going to care about this type of action. But those of you that do care about this type of action, please know that this action has just fired. Okay, guys, I think that was the entire lab. Did I miss anything? Is that all of it?
Yeah, because the last one was decrements.
Okay, so we did that, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm leaving. I'm not talking.